Let's begin with a question that's hard to admit out loud. How many times have you allowed something that deeply hurt you just to keep the peace? You didn't speak up. You laughed it off. You told yourself it wasn't that serious. You even made excuses for them. They didn't mean it. They had a hard day. This is just how they are. But something inside you quietly shattered. Carl Jung once wrote, "What you deny subjugates you. What you accept transforms you." And in that single line, he exposed the invisible price we pay when we allow things that betray our inner truth. This video is not about being dramatic. It's about finally acknowledging the things we've been conditioned to ignore. Because here's the brutal truth. What you tolerate buries you. Not all at once, but slowly, silently. One it's okay at a time. You stop trusting your instincts. You start minimizing your needs. You begin calling disrespect normal. Until one day, you wake up in a life that doesn't feel like yours. This isn't a motivational video. This is a psychological mirror. And it might sting, because we're going to explore 7 behaviors that Carl Jung would warn you never to tolerate. Not because you're better than others, but because your soul can't survive in spaces where your truth is suffocated. These behaviors are often disguised as love, humor, or concern. They show up in partners, parents, friends, even ourselves. And they erode your identity from the inside out. So if you've ever felt guilty for setting boundaries, if you've ever been told you're too sensitive, if you've ever wondered, am I overreacting? This video is your answer. Let's begin with the first poison we must learn to recognize. 1. Passive control disguised as care. It sounds like love. It looks like concern. But underneath the sweetness, there's a leash. You should really wear this instead. I think you're overreacting. Just trust me. I only want what's best for you. But it's never about you, is it? It's about their comfort, their agenda, their image of who you should be. Jung would call this shadow control. Control that hides under the mask of care. It's not loud. It's not violent. But it's invasive. It teaches you to doubt yourself, little by little. And the more you accept it, the more you shrink. Not because you're weak, but because you've been trained to question your own clarity. This is how manipulation survives. Not through force, but through the illusion of safety. Never confuse control with love. 2. Mockery disguised as humor. You're so sensitive, can't you take a joke? How many times have you swallowed a laugh that didn't feel right? How many times did their teasing hit a nerve too deep? There's a specific kind of pain in being mocked by someone you trust. It's not just the words. It's the smile behind them. The audience that laughs. The moment you feel both humiliated and invisible. This isn't humor. It's emotional erosion. Jung believed that humor is a reflection of the soul. But when it's used as a weapon, it doesn't entertain, it silences. And every time you let it go, you teach others how to disrespect you. Worse, you teach yourself how to accept it. Set the boundary, even if it makes things awkward. Especially if it makes things awkward. Because dignity isn't loud, but it is sacred. 3. Gaslighting in subtle form. They rewrite the past. They question your memory. They deny what you clearly heard, saw, or felt. And suddenly, you're confused. You start apologizing for things you didn't do. You replay conversations in your head like crime scene tapes. Gaslighting isn't just emotional abuse. It's psychological sabotage. It makes you doubt your own reality. And the moment you stop trusting your perception, they win. Jung warned us. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Because if you do trust yourself, you'll have to face hard truths. You'll have to confront people you love. You'll have to walk away from dynamics that depend on your silence. And that's terrifying. But it's also the beginning of liberation. When someone makes you feel like the crazy one, ask yourself, am I being difficult? Or just finally defending myself? 4. Emotional invalidation by rational people. You're being dramatic. Calm down, it's not that deep. You always make everything a big deal. It sounds like logic, but it feels like being erased. You're not asking for agreement. You're asking to be heard. But they offer analysis instead of empathy. They dissect your emotions like puzzles, as if pain has to pass a test before it's allowed to exist. Jung warned that what we suppress doesn't disappear, it goes underground. And underground emotions don't die, they rot. They return as resentment, disconnection, anxiety. They sabotage your joy because they were never validated in the first place. Your feelings don't need to be reasonable. They need to be real. And the people who truly care about you won't ask you to shrink your experience just so they can stay comfortable. Never explain your pain to those committed to misunderstanding it. 5. Self-sacrifice disguised as love. You always give. You always stay. You always carry the emotional weight for everyone. And yet, you're always the one who ends up empty. This is the most dangerous betrayal. Not from others, but from yourself. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But how can you become anything when you're constantly pouring yourself into everyone else's story? You tell yourself it's noble, that it's what love means. But deep down, it's fear. Fear of being abandoned if you say no. Fear of being called selfish if you draw a line. Fear of what you'll face if you finally stop rescuing others and start rescuing yourself. Real love isn't about depletion. It's about mutual elevation. If your giving comes at the cost of your health, your peace, your identity, it's not generosity, it's self-erasure, and no one will come to save you from it. You'll have to decide that you are worth saving. 6. Tolerating contempt just to avoid loneliness. You hear it in their tone. The sighs, the rolled eyes, the subtle jabs. They don't hit you, but they dismiss you. And yet, you stay. Because you tell yourself, at least I'm not alone. But Jung taught us, loneliness does not come from being alone, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. You're not avoiding loneliness. You're building it from the inside out. There's a kind of soul death that happens when you surround yourself with people who don't see you, people who mock your depth, belittle your dreams, or reduce your voice to background noise. And if you tolerate that long enough, you begin to believe that's all you're worth. But here's the truth. Being alone is hard, but being with people who make you feel alone is unbearable. You were not born to beg for kindness. You were born to live in truth. 7. Normalizing environments that kill your spirit. This isn't just about one person. It's about entire atmospheres, workplaces, families, friend groups, places where your light slowly dims. Not because you're weak, but because the air itself is suffocating. Carl Jung believed that when the soul is starved, it sends signals in the form of depression, fatigue, apathy. We think we're burnt out, but sometimes we're just mourning our own suppression. If you find yourself constantly exhausted, constantly questioning yourself, constantly shrinking just to keep the peace, you are not broken. You are misplaced. Your soul doesn't thrive in every environment. It needs meaning. It needs alignment. It needs oxygen. And no dream, job, or relationship is worth trading your aliveness for. These 7 behaviors may seem small, subtle, even normal, but they add up. They stack quietly until one day you no longer recognize the person in the mirror. This is not just about protecting your feelings. It's about protecting your essence. Because the truth is brutal. What you tolerate becomes your life. So here's your invitation. Look back. Where have you gone silent? What have you normalized that's killing you slowly? Carl Jung didn't just study the human mind. He decoded its quiet betrayals. He gave us language for what we've always felt but didn't know how to name. And now, you know. So the only question left is, will you keep tolerating what breaks you? Or finally return to what rebuilds you? If this hits something inside you, go to the comments and write, "No more shrinking. I choose my truth." Not to prove anything to anyone, but to mark this moment as the one where you came home to yourself. And remember, the soul doesn't scream. It whispers. This is your whisper. Listen.